At a district attorney general's conference today in Pigeon Forge, state officials reminded Tennessee's domestic violence prosecutors that forcing victims to testify against their abusers and then jailing those who will not cooperate will not be tolerated. Good evening, I'm Josh Smith. Sarah Diamond has the night off tonight. Community watchdog Nate Morabito found out last month's concerns about the rare but severe practice in Washington County set off a string of actions by the state,
including a visit to Johnson City in recent weeks. As we previously uncovered, the federal grant many counties, including Washington County, use to prosecute domestic violence cases prohibits the practice. Our investigation revealed here that practice resulted in the arrests of more than a dozen victims over a year's time. Emails obtained through a public records request show the state office that oversees the grant took several steps in the days after to discourage the jailing of victims. The voices of victims.
I've been a victim who's been re-victimized.
Attorneys.
How paternalistic is it on the part of the government to think that they know what's best for these women?
And advocates.
It is deeply concerning that this could definitely endanger victims further.
All rang out loud and clear last month. Within days of hearing their stories, the Tennessee Office of Criminal Justice Programs also spoke up. Public records show the state alerted the U.S. Department of Justice of the situation in Washington County, where some victims went to jail for disobeying subpoenas. The email refers to it as a limited issue and promises it will not happen again. In addition, the office sent out a memo to all domestic violence prosecutors in the state who used the grant in question, reminding them federal funding prohibits them from forcing victims to participate in criminal proceedings and prohibits them from penalizing victims who refuse to testify, warning those activities which compromise victim safety will jeopardize their grant funding. The situation culminated Tuesday in Pigeon Forge, where state officials addressed the issue with grant-funded prosecutors in person during the District Attorney General's conference.
Every case is different. Every case has different mitigating circumstances, and those all have to be taken into account. That's one of the things that makes this issue so difficult.
Jennifer Brinkman says the state is urging prosecutors to work toward getting more victims to trust the system and work to let those victims know their wishes matter.
In the end, what needs to happen is what's best for the victim. And if the victim is not ready to testify, then those cases might not need to be pursued as vigilantly. And I think that's part of what we're looking at now is what cases do we follow up on and what cases do we dismiss because that's what the victim says is best.
Tuesday's visit followed a trip to Johnson City last month, where state officials met with prosecutors and others, including the police chief, to discuss the future of domestic violence cases.
I can see that this conversation is bringing even more voices to the conversation.
Chief Mark Soroy says from the beginning, everyone has had the best of intentions. Moving forward, he says those same people and agencies are even more focused on breaking the domestic violence cycle and improving victim safety, while still holding abusers accountable.
What the end product is going to be a better response to victims' needs, and also, hopefully, on the prosecution end, more prosecution of offenders.
Now, District Attorney Tony Clark previously told us he was looking into an alternative so that these victims could avoid going to jail instead of appearing before a judge so they can explain their situation and why they missed court or didn't want to testify. The state is also pursuing additional training to help with the investigative process so that police and prosecutors can build stronger cases so that they have those strong cases when victims just don't want to participate.
All right. Nate Morabito, thanks for the update tonight. We appreciate it.